Greetings, Toiletarians! I'm your host, Toilet Terry, and you guys are all watching Toilet Talk with Terry. That's me, obviously. The discussion topic for this episode is It's a Small World. And no, I am not going to sing the song. Of all people I know, however, my grandmother BB has had the most It's a Small World moments. And she has told me all about them. And I am about to tell you all about them too. The first story she told me was the story of when she went on vacation to Brussels, Belgium. There were tourists all around town. And this old bag woman, she didn't know, kept following her everywhere, and she couldn't figure out why. At first, she didn't think that the bag woman was actually following her. She thought that they happened to be in the same place a lot by coincidence, but no. It turned out she was actually following her, and that was for a reason, but she didn't find out the real reason until later. So fast forward, she's touring the town. The bag lady is still following her, and then she hears a familiar voice. Hey, B! She turns around, and it's an old friend of hers from high school. A dude that she knew in high school. And she was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, I'm here on business. And then she said to him, well, that's great. That's great. I'm just here on vacation. What are the odds I run into somebody I know? He's like, I know, right? But thank God I ran into a familiar face because I have a huge crisis on my hands. I am looking for my mother. I can't find her anywhere. She has disappeared. Can you help me? And my grandmother was like, sure, yeah, I'll help you find your mother. So they start looking together, but they have no success. So they come up with an idea. Let's split up. You go that way, I go this way. I'll look for her over here, you look for her over there. And then BB just happens to notice that the bag woman is still following her. So finally, she goes over to the bag woman and says to the bag woman, okay, out with it. Why are you following me everywhere? And suddenly, before the bag woman can answer her, she hears the voice of her friend behind her say, Mom, there you are. Yes, it turns out that the bag woman was his mother all along. It's a small world. And no, I am not about to start singing. The second story that BB told me after that story was the story of when she was going to Dallas, Texas on business. She had just landed in Dallas. She was at the airport. She went to baggage claim, got her bags, and then all of a sudden, because she's not looking where she's going, her attention span is the attention span of a gnat, she bumps into somebody who is also not looking where they're going and also has the attention span of a gnat. When they both get up off the ground, they recognize each other right away. It just so happens to be an old friend of hers from high school. She's like, what are you doing here? What are you doing in Dallas? And her friend says to her, I'm here on business too. They had both had a rough start to their morning that morning, but they had a fun night catching up over dinner. It's a small world. And no, I'm still not gonna sing. The next story she told me after that one was the story of when she was on the highway one time. She looked in her rear view mirror and she saw two people on a motorcycle. She thought they looked familiar at first, but then she was like, no, it's just my imagination. Then she looked again. No, it's just my imagination. But then as they got closer and closer, she looked again and again and again until she realized the guy riding the motorcycle was her brother-in-law and her sister was the passenger. They just so happened to be going down the same highway at the same time. You see, her brother-in-law and sister from Alabama. So what happened next? She pulled over the car. They pulled over the motorcycle. They were like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Her brother-in-law and sister said, we're going to Michigan for Christmas. Where are you going? And then she told them, I'm going to Ohio for Christmas. It's a small world. And the fourth and final story that she told me was the story of when she once rented a beach house in South Carolina just for herself for vacation. But when she got there, a whole other family, some other people had already rented the place out. And what she found out next was that it just so happened to be old friends of hers from Decatur, Georgia. They were from Decatur, Georgia, and she lived in Alabama at the time. So what did they do? They decided to stay there together, have vacation together, catch up for the first time in years together. They splitted their rent, so it was less money for everyone. And instead of spending vacation alone, BB ended up spending her vacation with old friends. It's a small world, after all, folks. So I guess the moral of this episode is, or could be, something along the lines of, it's a small world. And that's all there is to it, really. And that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, this discussion topic. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you liked it. Hit that subscribe button for more upcoming content, which will be amazing. Y'all won't want to miss it? Alright, keep it real. Peace out.